Hey everybody, happy Monday. JD here, coming at you live from rainy Holland, Michigan. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your day to chat with me, to listen to what I've got to say. Hopefully I don't make it too boring or too uninteresting, but we're going to talk about two different things today. We're going to talk about making sure your Facebook business page is compliant, and then we're going to talk about carousel ads and what those are and what they mean and how to create those. All right. So as always, if you guys have questions along the way, please feel free to write in the little box, send me a chat, and I will answer the question as soon as I see it. But we're going to talk about Facebook page compliance first. So this is a bit of a difficult subject, mainly because as you probably know, as Schmidt family of companies, we've got offices in Michigan, Ohio, Florida, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, which again, on a day like today, I'm wishing I was down there with them right now. But every board and every state, and you can reverse that, every state and then every local board and MLS have different rules. And another one of the issues that we face is that a lot of those rules are sort of outdated, that they are written in the 80s, 90s, maybe even early 2000s, updated then, but they don't reflect the changes of digital media and social marketing. And it's hard to sort of interpret those the right way, or interpret those as in a copy and paste sort of fashion. So we've done our best. The rules that we've given are a little bit more conservative because we would rather you be safe and have a little bit extra coverage than try to play the line a little bit, toe the line a little bit, and then get dinged by another agent or by your board and have to pay fines and fees and all that good stuff. So there are three main points, all right, when it comes to Facebook business page compliance for agents, and they are, if the PowerPoint would work, office address on your business page, licensed realtor with, and in your about section, I'll explain that more in a second, and your company DBA in your cover photo or somewhere apparent on your page. Now, that one is not necessarily required from the conversations I've had with Tracy and what we've interpreted, but I would so highly recommend it. So we're going to go into each one specifically here. So office address on your business page. And I have slides here, but I'm also going to show you on my test page, JDW Real Estate. It is a fake page. There's no reason to like it, even though I have 67 likes on this page. So if you scroll down and look at my About section down here, and alternatively, if you were to go to my About tab, you would see that my address is my office address, the one that I would work out of as an agent. This is one of those things where most sort of real estate law says you have to have, your brokerage's name and their phone number or address on all of your marketing materials. So one thing that I see a lot of people doing is that every time they post something from their business page, a video, a new listing, an article, a photo, they are writing all of that information in every single time. So this post here, for example, would be edited. It would have this, and it would also say listed by JD Waldvogel, realtor with Coldwell Banker, Woodland, Schmidt, 466 East 16th Street, Holland, MI 49423. So, and then have the phone number of 616-355-6351. So I see a lot of people editing to have all of that information in every post they do. Now, if you follow the directions that I'm giving you, which means if you have on your business page the office address as your business address, you do not have to do this every single time. So what you can do then is you can edit it and take all this stuff out. And again, I'm pretending that this is my listing. If this was not my listing, I would have to credit whoever's listing it is by saying listed by so-and-so. But pretending it's mine, I can write whatever I want and post it this way, because this little link right here is always going to be attached to every post and ad that I do. So if I boost this as an ad and somebody were to click on it, they would be able to see all that information right away. They'd be able to see my office address, they'd see the logo up here. And so that's sort of what keeps you compliant, is having that business address, what we call one click away. So if you go to my business page, all that info is right there for you. So you have to have your office address as your business address. I've had some people say, hey, can my sort of sphere isn't directly where the office is. It's kind of in the city to the east, in the suburb of where I work. Can I put that? Unfortunately, the answer is no. The second point is you need to clearly state, and I know that this looks wordy up here, you need to clearly state that you are a licensed realtor with your DBA in the city that you work with. work in. So for example, when we look at my page here, again, if we click on about, you'll see my about section says, I'll zoom in on it, licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt in the state of Michigan. You do need to expressly use that statement. Now, on your business page, there are 2 places you can do that. There's your about section, which is down here, which is a shorter section. And then there's your story section, which I'm going to click more on in a second to go a little bit more in depth there. So Mike is asking if that we verified it with legal counsel. This is what I'm talking about, Mike, is that your board might be different, that each ad must have this broker name and address and all that stuff. If that's the case with your local board, well, and so again, what you say, Dan, is which is what the law states. Now, this is where it gets tricky because we've looked at the verbiage of local boards and the state law, and the question becomes, what is the advertisement? Is the page the base of the? So, is it, if you were to boost a post out there, is that post just an extension of your page where all that information is and keeps you legal, or is every single post its own separate advertisement by itself? That is something that is not decided anywhere in real estate law. Right? There's no thing in the Michigan real estate, and I just went through the class in January. There's nothing here that states in regards to social media, every post must have this versus the page. And this is why I'm saying is that there is no 100% clear thing. Now, if your local board is telling you something specifically different, that's a different conversation. From everything that we've looked at with the state law and state boards, this is information that keeps you compliant because we're viewing this page as sort of the base of the advertisements. And if we were to boost, like I was using as an example, and I don't want to get too hung up on this, and you and I can talk later, Mike, if you'd like. When I look at this as a post, all of that information is a part of that advertisement because it's right here when I click on my page. And that's sort of my point, is that all that information, if it's on your business page, is attached to every single post. And so my interpretation of it, and again, and my interpretation could be wrong, but we've looked over a lot. My interpretation is that by having that information on your business page, which is attached to every single post, you're staying within compliance of state laws. Again, it is an open question, but that's the way that I've looked at it and interpreted it. So going back here, on your About tab or your Story section, you have to say licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt, Coldwell Banker Sunstar Realty, Coldwell Banker St. Croix Realty, whatever your DBA is. Now, as you can see, there is an About section and a Story section. They're the same but different, essentially. So your About section is a shorter version. So if you click Edit on this, you'll notice that it says here, the limit is 255 bytes, which normally means 255 characters. That's what I meant last time I looked at it, at least. So you really are limited to maybe 3 sentences or so. So I put licensed realtor there. I have a little bit about me because, and this is sort of a different point than what I'm trying to make now, but your story and your About section are supposed to reflect who you are. Okay. As much as you have to have that there, every sort of biography I've ever read for an agent normally starts with, I have been a real estate agent in this area for 17 years. I have been doing this for 2 years. And then they list their accolades. Well, I know that you're a real estate agent because I'm on your real estate page. Tell me something about you. So like I said, that's a different point, more of the, just to answer your question quick, Mike, yes, you are, if that's what you want to do. So to go back to this, if you were to click on this story section, which I wrote this morning, this is almost more about me than it is about being an agent. So you'll see in my beginning, and you're more than welcome to go and check this out later. I don't want to bore you with reading this whole thing, but the first thing I say here is, my name is JD Waldrop. I'm a licensed realtor with Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt, and Holland. That covers me from a compliance standpoint. The rest here, the story section, which is a bit more in depth than the About section, tells you more about me. You can even see right here, a bit about me. And you can see in the title, I said real estate's #1 soccer and dog lover. So you can, and I kind of go into depth on those 2 points later in this sort of story. So I would always recommend being as relational as you can, because real estate is a relationship-based business in the way that I personally view it. And so whatever you can give to people to relate to you is important. But the main point as far as compliance goes is that you have to have your information somewhere on your business page that says licensed realtor with your DBA in your state, with Coldwell Banker Hunter Realty in Ohio, with Sunstar Realty in Florida. And so that's what I did there. And then this is one that, I have talked with Tracy about this third point, and she's pretty sure it's not required, but I'm still a little iffy on that, and I would recommend doing this. Put your company DBA in your cover photo. Anybody in marketing can do this for you, because it is like a Photoshop sort of thing. If you have Photoshop, you can do it yourself. go ahead and do that. But keep in mind that there are state laws requiring, if you have your logo on there, it has to be the same of equal size as your broker logo, and depending on the state, and information like that. So it really is as simple as having an image, sending it over to marketing, anybody across any of our regions, and saying, hey, would you mind adding this, the Woodland Schmidt DBA or the Schmidt Realtors DBA? Would you mind adding that to my cover photo? And they'll add it for you. They'll do what you ask them to do, as long as it's all in compliance, and they'll send it back to you sized correctly. All the dimensions are going to be great. Everything that you need will be ready to go. So again, I was playing off my whole soccer passion for this. Obviously, I found the stock photos and soccer players and put the logo there. I'm hoping that it'll let me go back. It's not going to let me because they've changed this silly cover photo setup. Another easy one is always locational. So again, this is a pure Michigan one that I made for one of our awesome offices up north, and it kind of added the Schmidt family of companies logo in the corner there. So you can take your own photos if they're ones that you've taken. Maybe you had a really beautiful listing that you want to use that photo. We have a stock photo site that if you contact someone in marketing, we can hook you up with a preview link to that, and you can search our stock gallery. Or like I said, if it was just a photo that you took, if you noticed back in my about section, I used a photo of my dogs that I took last week for this kind of story thing here. If I wanted to play up the Coldwell Banker campaign, or Coldwell Banker Homes for Dogs campaign, the Adopt a Pet campaign, I could also do that. Whatever. Again, it's about being relational and sort of showcasing yourself and relating to people. And these, some people don't like dogs, don't really care for pets. That's fine. That's not me. And I feel like for me, it's going to connect more with people than it would turn people off. So I'm going the dog route there. So yeah, those are the three big ones that we kind of that you kind of have to have in order to really be compliant. I want to kind of showcase a couple more things here. Notes. So your business page's title does, and this is Mike, what you and I were just kind of, what I saw your message about, but your business page's title does not need to have Coldwell Banker in it. But it's a great option. This is just like if your website URL, meaning if my real estate website was jdwaldvogelrealtor.com, that does not need to have Coldwell Banker in it. We sort of treat the title of your page the same way. So these are just examples of what you could do for your business page title. JD Waldvogel Realtor with a dash, with a comma, with Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt. I probably would have with Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt in my title, because I think having the national brand behind my name is a good connection to make. So if I were actually truly selling, I would probably use this option here. JD Waldvogel sells homes. And I just got goofy. JD sells your home, Waldvogel, JD Waldvogel, your favorite realtor, anything like that. What Mike was mentioning is that his page title has all that info in it. So Mike Heath, office, Coldwell Banker, Schmidt Realtors, office address. Now, where it gets tricky is that you want to make sure that your ads, when you're creating them, and this is a different story, and we'll get into this with the carousel ads in a moment, that they are pleasing to the public eye, right? That people want to click on them. And so you don't want to bog down your title too much, because again, it is a title. The thing here is that this right here is a lot cleaner looking than this third one right here. It is a little cleaner looking. That's a choice that I would make to go with this one anyway. But really it is whatever your preference is. But this note at the bottom is important, right? Your page must clearly state that it is your page and that it is representing you with your local DBA. I see some pages where people don't. First of all, I see some pages where there's nothing about their company on the page anywhere. So it just says, JD Waldvogel Realtor, and I have a little bio about myself, but nowhere on the page does it say I work with Coldwell Banker or I work with that company. You need to have that on your page to be compliant. That is state and company law, right? Secondly, you can't have a page that misrepresents anything. So I've seen some pages that are like West Michigan Real Estate, or Northern Michigan Living, or Florida, the beach life, or something like that. And it's all about their listings in real estate. There's a bunch of reasons why you can't do that, but the main reason is that you're misrepresenting yourself. So you're not clearly representing to the public that you are showcasing your listings or your business. So your page needs to clearly state that it is you, that this page is for you, which I think that makes some pretty clear sense. So a couple of resources for this, and we're going to get into, actually, I'll save that for the end. Never mind. So those are the 3 points I wanted to make about compliance. Now, if you guys have questions, again, please type them in. We are going to shift gears a little bit because I knew that wouldn't take too long. I want to show you how to create a carousel ad. It might be something you guys already know how to do, but I want to just go over the features here, what that looks like. And I'll show you first what the end result will look like. It looks like this right here. You can see that on your phone, you can swipe, but on the computer, you will click these arrows and it will go through the different photos that you can add as slides. Now, the only things you're going to want to prep for this are A, the link that you want to use, and B, you're going to you see how I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 photos here. You're going to want those 5 photos prepared ahead of time. So if you'll notice, if I click on my downloads folder, just to show you, I have right here the photos that I'm going to use ready for my ad. I have them saved on my computer. You're going to want to know where those are. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find the listing that you want to share. Now, I always recommend sharing from your CB site, CB Great Lakes, Hunter, Florida Homes, as opposed to your local MLS, because the local MLSs generally are a lot less user-friendly as far as public-facing ads go. They're harder to navigate. You can't search unless you're set up with an agent, etc. So I always recommend using your CB site. So what you're going to want to do is go up to the link at the top of the page. You're going to right-click and copy, or you can, Command-C, whatever shortcuts you use. Go back to your business page, and right where it says write a post, you're going to paste it. Now, a lot of these sites do have Facebook buttons where you can share to Facebook directly. Those don't work for these purposes as well, and I'll talk about that in a second. So you could always click this little social button and click share to Facebook. It really limits what you can do, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a second. But from here, you always want to, and I've said this before and I'll say it a million times, delete this link at the top. Delete it. Then, I'll say it a million times again, write something here. Remember, if you're going to do this as an ad, you are trying to capture the attention of people who are on Facebook. So if you just write new listing or check this out, and then you try to boost that, that is not going to catch my attention. That is not going to make me want to stop and read and look at your listing. So you want to try to be creative. Now, I did not prepare my creative text ahead of time. So if this is not that interesting, don't get upset. All right, I'm warning you now. But you want to describe the property a little bit. So beautiful new luxury listing. Whoopsie. First of all, type everything correctly. For beautiful new luxury listing on Lake Michigan. Beautiful new luxury listing on Lake Michigan. Wake up to stunning panoramic views of the water. Then eat breakfast in your immaculate chef's kitchen. I know I spelled it wrong. Click below. Then I'm going to do this. Click below for more info. Right? So that's 2 or 3 lines right there. You don't want it to be too long, and I'll show you why at the very end. It's going to be one of the last things I show you. But you want to write more than just new listing. Okay? Now, again, if this were my listing, this would be okay. Now, this is listed by Andrea Crossman, who is our luxury leader on the lakefront. So if I were sharing this as JD agent, sharing her listing, I would have to say listing provided by Andrea Crossman. Now, for the purposes of this presentation, I am pretending it is my listing, okay? So I'm going to take that part out, but it is very much not my listing, right? So from here, you're going to see where all these buttons down here. Yeah, don't worry about any of those. But where this photo is right here, there's a little plus next to it. If you click on that, it's going to ask you to what other photos you want to upload. This is where you're going to want to go to where you saved those photos of your listing and pick some of those. So I knew that I saved them here on my downloads folder. I'm going to pick these 4 listings because I like that one a lot. But I'm going to choose these 4. So I'm going to click on these, grab all 4. You can do them one at a time if you want, or you can do, shift and add all 4. I'm going to click open, and you'll see along the bottom here, these 4 slides are kind of loading into it. Now you're going to wait a second. That, boom. Now I've got 5 photos on here. So for a carousel, the max you can have is 5. Okay. Gotta get a drink of water. So now I have 5 photos here. Now, right now, they're all linking to that same link, right? So if I click on any of these slides, it's going to bring me here on computer or on mobile. But what you can do from this bottom right here is you can drag and drop the order you want. So for example, if I go down to 5 right now, this is the 5th one. I really like this living room shot. So I'm actually going to take it where it's in 5th right now and drag it up to number 2. And then the 3rd one is the chairs, and I'm going to rearrange that so that I kind of like the order it is now. So kitchen and then bathroom at the end. So now that I've changed the order, there are a couple more things I can do. Firstly, I can click on the text below each slide and change that to reflect what I want to showcase. So maybe on the first one, I do want to keep the address there, just so people know where it is. But maybe on the second one, I want to change this to say stunning views from right from your living room. And then you can click on this next one, which is the deck, and you say expansive deck to entertain guests. So my point is that you can change the text under each photo to reflect what you want it to. Here I could say, you know, create delicious experiments in your updated kitchen, whatever, right? You get the point. I'm not going to keep going. So you can update each slide to say what you want. And then finally, another thing you can do is that if you hover over it, you'll notice that these two little chains appear, or these, you know, kind of blocks. If I click on this, it's going to let me edit the destination URL. Now, like I said, every one of these slides right now is going to the same listing, and the same link, which is the one up here. Now, if I were doing a carousel ad for one listing, this is probably what I would do, because why would you send them to other places? But maybe you were hosting 3 different open houses or 2 different open houses this weekend, and you want to showcase each one. If you were to click on these links, but here, you could change the URL to each different listing. So maybe this one is 7400 Pinnacle, and then this next one is 123 Main Street, and then I change the URL to go to the 123 Main Street link. So then every slide has a different link that sends me to a different property, if that makes sense. So at this point, I've rearranged my slides, I've edited the text, I've put my text up above it, and now all I gotta do is I can publish it or I can schedule it. Again, now if you've never seen this before, if you click on this little triangle right here, a little tab comes up that says schedule. So if I click on this, I can schedule this post to go live tomorrow. I can, up to 6 months from now, really. I could do later this afternoon. Maybe this is just something, you know, it's my open houses on Saturday, so I want it to go out on Thursday at, you know, 4 p.m. I just change that time, click schedule, and boom, there it goes. Now, I'm not gonna do that now because I do want to publish it and show you one thing. And then I'm gonna wrap things up at the end here. So the post is published, you'll see all those things. Now, let's say you wanted to do an ad for this. And so, you know, you see the photos are a little bit more zoomed out than they were or kind of panned out than they were when we were making them, which is good. So if I want to make an ad for this, I'm going to click on Boost Post right here. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. We're not going to go through the whole form of making ads, but on the right-hand side, whenever you boost or do an ad, it shows you an example of what your ad's going to look like. If I click on mobile newsfeed especially, this is the very important one because roughly 85 to 90% of people who use Facebook use it on their phone. That's a huge, huge majority. So you want to make sure that whatever you're boosting or whatever ads you're doing look good on the phone. So this looks okay. It's not too much text. You can see everything, all the photos. Of course, you could slide through those. But and so I would be okay moving forward with that as an ad. But I'm going to show you something. So let's say that I actually have a lot of text here. I've seen some people put all of their marketing descriptors in the ad, right? Now, obviously, I just copied and pasted that 2 more times, but I wanted to show you the example. So if I click on Boost Post here, and it gives me the example of my ad, and I click on Mobile Newsfeed, what you're going to notice is that it actually says more. So it's not going to show me when I first scroll over it on my phone, it's not going to show me all of the text that you've written. It's only going to show me a little portion of it. And if I want to see more, I have to click on the More button. Like I was saying earlier, when you're creating an ad for Facebook, you are trying to get the attention of people on Facebook, people who've probably never seen your face before or heard of your name or your listings. So if you want to capture their attention, you should not make them work for more, work to see your ad. So right now, if I want to see everything you're trying to tell me, I have to click on more. I might scroll right past it and go, it's not worth it. I don't want to see what they're making me. You know, I'm not going to do them a favor to see their ad. It's on you to get me interested. That's why you want to make sure you have just the right amount of text. You don't want a couple words, but you don't want 3 paragraphs worth. So I'm going to go back and delete these 2 extra paragraphs. Delete that space bar, click done editing. Now, if I go back to Boost Post, you'll see I can see everything right here. There's no more button. They're not telling me how much more, or, you know, that I'm not making people work to see my ad. So this is a good amount of text for a Facebook ad because I can see everything right off the bat. So that's basically it for now. That covers how we're doing these carousel ads. Again, it's a pretty simple method, but I have seen in my studies, in our experience, you know, I say experiments, in our tests, that it's actually a very effective ad format as far as clicks go. Let's see here. That's the definition. What do you mean stories section? I said to do. I'm going to read that in a second, Chris. So I want to finish covering this, and then as questions are coming in, though, if you guys have more questions, please write them in the little chat box. As we finish up, that's how you do that. I do want to showcase real quick the Generation Blue Facebook group. There's been a couple emails come out about it in the past couple days. But if you click on the link in the email or go to facebook.com/groups/GenBlueSchmidt, and I actually have that right here. you can join our brand new kind of information announcement Facebook group for all Coldwell Banker Schmidt family of companies employees and agents and staff, all of the above. So please go to that group, join. We were already at about 384 members over less than a week, which is awesome. We've got a new Coffee with Mike there. There are 2 more Coffee with Mikes coming in the next couple of weeks. And it's just a new way for us to communicate with our awesome family. So I'm going to click on the questions to see what they are. No problem, Anthony. Thank you, man. I'll talk to you soon. Chris, you figured out the story section, which I'm glad about. I said the about when you are looking to an in-house listing. What is that about doing that? And what about listings that are on MLS but not listed by your brokerage? Okay, I'll cover that real quick, Chris. And I think I know what you're saying. So the question is, what do you have to do if you are listing or if you are showcasing a listing that's not yours and is from a different brokerage? So that's the question I'm going to cover, Chris. And if it's not what you're asking specifically, totally just call me or email me and we'll talk after the fact. So let's say that this listing was listed by Andrea Crossman with Remax or a local, at home, like a local sort of competitor. This is, again, where things get a little bit dicey. So what you have to do when creating that post, again, so let's just say that this is the post for that listing. You will have to say listed by Andrea Crossman with Remax Realty. You have to specifically say that it is that agent's listing with that agent's brokerage. If it's within your brokerage, that's fine. You don't have to say, with Coldwell Banker, Schmidt Realtors or anything like that. But if they're outside of your brokerage, you do have to say that and say, credit them. I've seen some people try to post luxury listings and showcase them as their own. That's not okay. Now, if you wanted to say in here, contact me for I'm just trying to, for private showing, contact me for a private showing, that is absolutely okay. You can, of course, say something like that, but you do need to say whose listing it is. Now, this is where things get a little bit shaky because from what we understand and from what Tracy and I have talked about, you do not need to legally ask permission to do that. You do not need to call Andrea or email or text her and say, hey, do you mind if I share your listing on my Facebook page? But I would recommend doing that every single time. If it were me, if you were saying, hey, JD, do you mind if I share your listing to my page? I would say yes, as long as you properly credit it, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, that's more eyes on my listing. You're giving me free publicity. But we did have an agent in one of our offices share a different agent and different brokerage's listing. They properly credited it. They did everything right. They just didn't tell the other agent that they were going to do it. And that agent got very upset from the other brokerage and, had her broker call our broker and it became a whole thing. And they didn't do anything wrong. The agent was just upset that they didn't ask permission. And I don't think it's worth the risk and worth the upset or the headache to not do it. So I would always recommend asking permission and then always properly credit, because I have seen people not properly credit and I've seen them be contacted to change it and them not do it. And I've seen them be contacted or be reported to the board because they have personally decided to not do it. Now that person had a lot of other issues as well. But my point is purely, if you're sharing somebody else's listing, you have to credit them. And if they're from a different brokerage, you have to clarify that. So I think that answered your question, Chris. And if it didn't, like I said, just shoot me an email or a call. But I was looking at the questions and that seems like all of them. So if you guys have any more questions, please give me a call, shoot me an email. As always, I'm here to help. That's my job. I'm here to help you guys sell more real estate and get more clients. So thank you again for taking the time out of your day to be here with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye now.